I'm Coach Miller, and welcome to All Marine Fighter, our aftermath edition of the Janibek and Vincenzo fight. Now, they both have last names that I cannot pronounce, but either way, it was a middleweight clash for the IBF and the WBO belts coming together, and one step closer to maybe possibly having a unified, undisputed middleweight champion of the world. Now, Janibek is a Kazakhstan fighter, a top Olympian. He was like 300 wins and 7 losses. You know, Gennady Golovkin had a very similar record when he went on to win or go to the Olympics and then eventually get a silver medal. I don't know if Janibek went to the Olympics and how well he did. I'm sure he did, but I don't remember him wearing a medal. But either way, the guy's really good. He's left-handed and he's a great power puncher for a middleweight. He's got a very good frame, very big, very tall, and he has growth that he can put on weight-wise to eventually move up to super middleweight and maybe even light heavyweight in the future. He has that potential. I really like his stance because, hey, he's a left-hander. I'm a left-hander. I feel for him. So he's going up against a right-hander in Vincenzo, and you can see the constant struggle between left and right-handers, you know, stepping on the toes and things like that. And it was almost like Janibek was actually kind of doing that on purpose in the beginning. The ref didn't catch it because, you know, it would happen to me all the time when I was, you know, fighting left-handed. You step on the guy's toe, not always on purpose, okay? Sometimes you're kind of like, well, maybe I can get away with a step on his toe and then give him a nice two, give him a left hand. But Janibek was kind of doing that on purpose in the beginning. But you do have a natural clash of toes. But either way, Vincenzo, he did not seem that he was even close to being up to par with Janibek. You just saw a completely different class of fighters, okay? Vincenzo is a decent fighter. He is a guy that he's not terrible, okay, but he's not elite. He was able to become a champion, got the IBF belt. He beat a guy that probably shouldn't have had it anyways. Had a great fight between two, you know, non-elite fighters. Just because I'm saying he's not elite doesn't mean that I'm insulting him or whatever. He's just not an elite fighter. He's an okay fighter, all right? He's an entertainer. He's not an elite fighter, so when he goes up against somebody who's potentially an elite fighter in Janibek, with the amateur pedigree and the top class, you know, the power in the hands, everything that goes around that package. Janibek was just laying it on Vincenzo, and it just seemed like you started to almost feel bad for Vincenzo. You're just kind of like, there came a point that even the commentator, I think it was Timothy Bradley, that was like, okay, we just got to stop this fight just because the guy's getting pounded. He just has nothing. Vincenzo's not throwing punches. I can't blame him because Janibek hits hard, so he was being a little more cautious and kind of. Every time he come in, Janibek had that counter, especially that one uppercut that just nailed him in round number 5 and just rocked him. He took that step back, and Janibek jumped on him, but Vincenzo was able to get his wits about him and fight through it. But he was getting pounded. His eye, by round 3, Vincenzo's eye was already bruised and swollen, and so the writing's already on the wall. When you're already battered by round 3, you already know it's going to be a short fight. And Janibek towered over Vincenzo, and in round 6, Vincenzo got rocked again, a second time. Stumbles back from, I think it was a power hand, so it would have been a left hand from Janibek, and just it was just about that time. He wasn't throwing many punches back, and Janibek started laying on the punches. The ref jumps in and stops the fight. So now you have in Janibek the IBF and WBO champion. So what happens from here for Janibek? Well, he is a WBO and IBF champion. You've got 2 other champions in this division. Both are not bad. One, Alimkhanuly, he has a WBA belt. Then you have Jermall Charlo, who has the WBC. Now, Jermall hasn't fought in a couple years, and he's got a mandatory. I think it's Carlos Adams, who is the interim WBC champion. So that fight might not happen. But the Alimkhanuly fight is a potential unification of 3 belts. we're in such a great time of boxing right now with the possibility of so many undisputed champions happening at one time. That is just awesome. The major catch, I would say, to Janibek collecting the other 2 belts is that those stupid belts are expensive, okay? We complain as fans why boxers don't go after multiple belts, but we don't really understand the finance part of it. And those belts are expensive. You got to pay for those bad boys. So if you're not getting a large crowd following and putting butts in seats, it's really hard to get promoters to front the money to be able to get you to go and fight for multiple belts. So Janibek has 2 of them now. He's a Kazakhstan fighter, top rank. Bob Arum, he seems to like that geographical region for fighters. They do have some pretty good fighters. So maybe he'll throw the money behind Janibek. I guess we'll find out. But it looks like if I were him, I would go and pick off Erislandy Lara, because Lara, while he's a good fighter, he's getting old. So he would be probably easy pickings to go ahead and stop and then wait for Jamal and Carlos Adams to figure out the WBC situation and then challenge for undisputed with WBC, whoever wins that fight. But either way, I'm super excited to see what's going to happen in the middleweight division, because it's very possible that if Janibek actually collects all the belts, he would be a formidable foe for Canelo Alvarez at super middleweight. Who knows? Let's see what happens. If you like this video, go and click that like button. Of course, if you're not subscribed, click that subscribe button. Sure helps out the channel. We got lots of content coming out. And of course, I'm here to entertain the crowd with new fight commentary. Until next time, stay motivated.